Well, well, well. What is up, everybody? It's Carson. I'm so excited to be doing this because this is actually my first review that is not an official film club pick. Boom, that's exciting. I want to say real quick for anyone that's going to watch this like right now as I'm releasing it. We are in the middle of a crazy moment. And I don't mean everything that's happening in the world. I mean, over the last 3 months, there has not been like, oh, are you going to go see Mulan this weekend? Oh, man, yeah, I saw it. It was awesome. Oh, you're going to see the new Fast and the Furious movie? Are you going to see In the Heights? Are you going to see... None of that has happened for the last 3 months. Movie going has completely been erased from how we enjoy weekends, how we enjoy evenings, how we enjoy outings. We are in a very different time. Yes, there's a pandemic going on outside of police brutality, and there's also a virus called coronavirus. Both of these things are keeping us. One of those things is keeping us inside, and one of those things is getting us outside. And the thing that I want to talk about, that I'm so fucking glad about, is that there was a brand new movie on a Friday night. It's spelled with a D, but I call it The Five Bloods instead of Da Five Bloods because there's just no real way that I can say it where I don't sound a little stupid. So as I talk out loud about it, it's The Five Bloods. Whenever I write it, it's with a D. The Five Bloods came out last night on Netflix, and it was so cool. I felt like I went to the movies last night. I was excited about it all day. I just told myself it was available all day. I could have popped it on, but I was like, cool, at 8 o'clock, we're going to see The Five Bloods. See, I don't like saying it. We're going to go see The Five Bloods. And we put that shit on, and it blew my flipping mind. Okay, first of all, I absolutely love Spike Lee. The Filmstruck movie of the week that I'm going to do a review for is Malcolm X from 1992. One of my absolute favorite films of all time is Do the Right Thing. One of my favorite movie-going experiences of all time was seeing Chirac in Harlem. Mind you, I understand now that Chirac, even though it's made by Spike Lee, is like problematic. And at the time of watching it, especially as a white person, a lot of the problematic elements of it went right over my head, and have since kind of understood why black people in particular, who fucking love Spike and support him all the time, they had problems with this film, and that is not what this particular video is about, so I'm not going to go into any of those details. But I will say that Spike Lee has afforded me some of my favorite movie-going experiences. He's one of the best American filmmakers of all time. And this movie is... I can't think of another time in my lifetime. I'm sure there's been one. I just can't think of it off the top of my head where a movie, and it's already been said before, but I'm going to say it again, where a movie has met its moment more than right now. The fact that this movie was able to come out the day that Robert Fuller was lynched in California is fucking mind-blowing. The timing, the fact that a film has come out that has something very urgent to say that happens to be what everyone is talking about. So it's like, you go see, and this shit is hard to time out, folks, because this movie was absolutely made a year ago. How are you gonna predict that this is how it's gonna go? First of all, as well, in case you didn't know, the original script was not Five Black Guys. Once Spike got his hands on it, he was like, let's rewrite this and have it be about black soldiers in Vietnam, because we don't see black people fighting for this country in Band of Brothers, Saving Private Ryan, Platoon, Apocalypse Now. Yeah, Lawrence Fishburne's in Apocalypse Now, but you know what? I was so excited to get an opportunity to like just see a very familiar setting told to me from a very unfamiliar storyteller. And okay, real quick, boom, I'm gonna jump right in. Stormin' Norman. I can already see the college dorms that have posters of Stormin' Norman. Particularly that black and white photo of him like in the wicker chair kind of with like the palm fronds that like says Stormin' Norman at the bottom. Also, that scene, man, where that, I think her name is Hannah. Ooh, I hope that's right. But she's on the radio, and she's talking. She's saying, "Black GIs. Martin Luther King was just assassinated in America," and she does this great monologue where like the guys get really angry at the fact that they are stuck in the jungle and aren't at home with their family and friends dealing with this, and every one of them is just like fucking ready to just go kill everybody. And Stormin' Norman, baby, Chadwick Boseman, who is the man, there's this shot, camera's way down low, so he looks like this giant hero, and he's got this big assault rifle like this, and he tells them, you got to go through me. But there's this shot then where he's got this, and he kind of calms the guys down, and he just does this, and he's got the rifle, and this image is just, I'm telling you, you're gonna see it on 1,000 t-shirts. You're not gonna be able to walk down the street without seeing this imagery. Spike has done that for us. Spike went ahead and made a movie that, these are just two little images that I'm talking about, but there is imagery in this movie that is going to be iconic, like where you just can't move forward in pop culture without seeing Paul with his dripping sweat and his beat up MAGA hat. If you don't know what I'm talking about, it's because you haven't seen the movie. And if you haven't seen the movie, you should really stop watching this because I'm about to spoil a bunch of shit. But Delroy Lindo, folks. It's a standing ovation for Delroy Lindo because I'm telling you right now, I hate to say this. I hate to say it. He's and there's so many actors like this, and it's really a problem. But he's a face that I always knew and a name I never did. That's partly my fault. Partly Hollywood's fault. I don't really want to point any fingers. All I know is Spike and Delroy got together and made this movie, and now I'll never forget his name because there is no way that anybody's gonna do a better performance this year. You could just already mail him the Oscar. You can mail him the SAG Award and the Golden Globe and every award you can come up with because Delroy Lindo does something with this character, you guys. I'm gonna just give a little bit of context. You got 4 best friends. They fought in Vietnam together. Their main guy died in action. They're going back to Vietnam as older men to retrieve his remains, which is partly why they're there. Maybe a dummy operation because what they're really there for is some buried treasure. When was the last time you got to enjoy a movie about guys hunting for buried treasure? This movie also, I found out afterwards that Treasure of the Sierra Madre is one of Spike's favorite movies of all time. If not his favorite movie of all time. I don't want to put words in his mouth, but I'm pretty sure I heard that. And I found myself thinking, because towards the beginning I was like, oh sweet, this is like Spike's Apocalypse Now. And then it really dawned on me about halfway through that I'm like, no, this is Spike's Treasure of the Sierra Madre, which is like almost more impressive because people have been trying to but like kind of make for themselves Apocalypse Now for years. I mean, Oliver Stone, guy won Best Picture making a ripoff of Apocalypse Now. But you guys, okay, so you got these 4 friends, right? Another thing that Spike does that's really cool is I also appreciate that it was Netflix too, because it's like they went and made The Irishman, which is older actors playing younger, which is a very cool thing that I hope continues to start happening because it's now been repeated in The Five Bloods, where the scenes where we go back to Vietnam, where the guys are actively fighting, it's like 1971 or whatever. We still see Delroy Lindo and these other guys as themselves in 2020, not de-aged with CGI, no makeup, not a younger cast of actors. They play themselves, and so it's like these older men running around with Chadwick Boseman fighting in Vietnam. And so what's cool is it kind of gives you that visual representation of just like, these are the same guys, and this guy never got to grow up. And also, goddamn, Spike does a really cool thing where and I don't know what to call it because I'm not as well versed in the technical things as I should be, but he plays with the aspect ratio in a really cool way. So, bars up here, widescreen, bars over here, kind of making the square in the middle. And he does a really cool thing where like the widescreen bars kind of like become the aspect ratio for the square in the middle that's then like older film. And so like the footage of Vietnam from the 70s looks like it's from the 70s. And then when we go back, boom, the bars come back up here and it's really effective. And then he does it again in a really cool way where once the older dudes who are there now and we're finally like on our jungle mission, we're going to go retrieve the treasure. We're going to go look for our fallen brother Storm and Norman. Then what happens is these widescreen bars disappear entirely, giving us this widescreen image. And I was just like, man, Spike, you went and made a Netflix movie, which is really cool to talk about because that's still an ever-changing, ever-evolving term. A Netflix movie can be anything at this point. It can be a 4-hour Irishman. It could be a 2.5-hour The Five Bloods. It could be black and white and in Spanish and be Roma. Either way, all I know is some of the very best filmmakers that are still making shit are all working for Netflix. And it's telling me something. Definitely looks like it's not going away anytime soon, but I can honestly say that The Five Bloods might be the best Netflix film so far. Maybe Roma. I'm sorry. I don't know. Roma, Five Bloods, Irishman. I'm still a Beasts of No Nation stan, so if any of you are, then you know what's up. Where do I even go from here, man? Okay, worth talking about. Delroy Lindo's character, Paul, is a Trump supporter, which I think in modern American cinema was the greatest choice ever. Because you got Joe Biden on TV saying shit like, if you vote for Trump, you ain't black. And to have the gnarliest guy in the movie be the one with the backwards MAGA hat the whole time, it was very special. Because Spike took an image that so many of us have been demonizing and vilifying and comparing it to other garb that other fascists have worn in the past. But we have this guy who fought for our country in Vietnam, which was a shitty war. And he's an older man, he's got kids, and one of the first things he says in the movie is something about immigrants and how they got to build that wall. And so immediately it's like, the audience, you're kind of like, this fucking guy is on the trip with us. But I wouldn't have had that trip without Paul. Delroy has this monologue. It's one of the greatest moments of the whole film. It's almost a 3-minute monologue where it's Paul has left the group and he's on his own. And he does this whole like soliloquy in the camera about this close the whole time. Him and the camera are moving through the jungle, and he does this soliloquy, which for those of you who don't know is like a speech either to the audience or to God or to yourself. And I really want to watch it again because it's not clear to me who he was talking to, but it felt like he was talking to me. It felt like he was talking to America as like an idea, and like how if that's like a window that you can look through, like if it's like a stained glass window, like it was as if he was talking to the stained glass window, but knowing that I was on the other side. And what's cool is I think that anyone that watches this film, no matter what you are, you're gonna get that, and it's testament to how good this dude is. Speaking of good dudes, Jonathan Majors is a name that I can't wait for all of us to know more. He took my breath away in Last Black Man in San Francisco, which I believe is still streaming on Amazon, so you should go ahead and watch that if you haven't. He plays Paul's son in this movie. And their dynamic is... I wish I had all the words. I wish I just matrix them right here and I could eloquently describe what I'm trying to say. But I guess the three-dimensionality, is that a word? The three-dimensionality of each one of these men, whether it be Jonathan Majors, the son, or any of these 4 living bloods that are friends, they're all fully realized human beings who happen to have served this country, who happen to be black, who happen to be men. It's like there's how do I put this, man? Um, there's something about as a white American male watching black American males struggle with, discuss, accept, fear for their like black maleness. It keep by watching these kind of stories that for whatever reason have been like not available to us as audience members, and that's a political discussion about studio heads and visibility. I don't fucking know what I'm talking about. All I know is for whatever reason we haven't gotten enough of this perspective for the masses, I guess, to like relate. There was an incredible essay that I read by a friend of mine, Heath Saunders, who is a musical theater writer in New York, and he wrote a stupendous essay about being black in the theater and how they use black bodies on stage, and how it is more palatable, I guess, for white audiences to accept black bodies on stage in like an imaginary world. So he talks about like The Wiz or The Lion King, but how there's so like in film you can kind of point to like Black Panther, right? As awesome as it is to see like, man, look at what these African people in Africa were able to accomplish by white imperialism just fully not even noticing that they were there, and what a grand dream that is. And that movie made $1 billion, but Moonlight won Best Picture, and I don't know how much money it made, but you see what I'm getting at. Like there's something to be said about seeing real people really dealing with real shit, and then you do add in the Hollywood magic that is we're hunting gold, man. This movie is so unmissable. You have to watch it. I really hope you watch it this weekend, actually. I hope you watch it this weekend. I in my heart, I like to pretend that since we're not going to the movie theater, if everyone watches this, it'll be Spike's biggest movie ever. Opening weekend, fucking 600 million people watched it. That would be pretty rad. But yeah, if you have a family member, perhaps, or a family friend, or anyone that is somehow American and connected to the Vietnam War, whether they fought in it or had family fight, any way that they are connected to the Vietnam War, get them to watch this movie. I know it's probably hard. I have no understanding of PTSD. I don't know what that feels like. So if it's way too difficult to watch a Vietnam movie for this person, then please God, don't force it upon them. But I do think that if your dad's ever liked a war movie, but not necessarily ever wanted to watch a Spike Lee movie, this is the one. This is the one. Thanks for listening to my long ass video. I just love this movie, so I had to talk about it. Usually I only do these for our film club pick of the week, but I had to. It's still a pandemic, baby, so I had to talk to somebody. But this movie, man, I'm definitely going to watch it again. And that's another thing that's great. The fact that it's on Netflix is, usually a movie comes out, you go see it. Maybe you're like me and you go see it like midnight showing on Thursday or definitely on Friday. And you're like, man, that was awesome. I can't wait to see it again. And I'm in a position now where I can just be like, oh, I love that scene. Boop. So enjoy, watch, rewatch, discuss. And, Black Lives Matter. I love y'all.